Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another video. Again, I'm Eric Kiltow. And
I'm Kourtney.
That's Kourtney Kiltow. Thanks for tuning in. This video isn't meant to scare anybody, but it's definitely to let you know to be careful, don't be complacent during your chemo treatments. Some of the policies and procedures and things that the hospitals have built in are there to protect you, us, and keep our children safe. Mm-hmm. As it is right now, in about 2 days, Kourtney will hopefully, will start her final round of chemo, and we'll keep you posted on that. But about 3 weeks ago or so, we had a pretty big scare. I know it worried me, and I think Kourtney was very worried that night.
Yeah.
She was maybe septic, and we had to rush her up to the ICU, and it happened like that.
We were just laughing and having fun playing games.
Yeah, and we're going to do another video to kind of give you the backstory. So we're going to do another video on GCSF shot, but about 3 weeks ago, before the fifth round,
Yeah, I think it was 5.
We decided not to get the GCSF shot, which helps stimulate her bone marrow growth.
But it also makes me hurt.
It makes her hurt. Again, we'll get into that in the next video, so stay tuned for that. But we decided not to do that. And Kourtney was in on that decision, and we made that decision not to do it. And with the guidance of our doctor as well, she felt comfortable, so we didn't get that shot. We don't know if that would have played into the coming story or not. But during that time, while we were waiting for her 5th round, she was neutropenic. So her neutrophils were very low, and that's kind of what is the building blocks for your immune system and your white counts and your platelets and everything. So that being said, we knew that she was low. We were checking it still almost every other day. I think she had an extra lab during that time also. And we decided we weren't going to bring Kourtney out kind of in public because we didn't want her to get sick and we didn't want to delay treatment. So we had spent a nice afternoon. We went out on the boat the day before, got Kourtney some sunshine. One of her favorite things to do, we live in the Seattle-Tacoma area, is to get out on the boat.
Yeah, I love that.
And we had a great time. And then the next day, we just laid low again. And it was a Saturday. And we were just hanging out, and it was me, Kourtney, Maria, my wife, and Gabby, other sis, and we were playing other kid. And we were just playing card games, and we were getting ready to go to bed, and Kourtney just said, my tummy's not feeling good, and she went to the bathroom and came back out. We're like, okay. She's had tummies hurt before. And we were getting ready to go to bed, and she comes in, or I was actually laying with her because she wasn't feeling the best, and Dad, I feel barfy. And okay, feel her. She doesn't feel like she has a fever. I mean,
I think Gabby was sleeping on the floor too.
Gabby was worried about you too, so Gabby was on the floor, and she had no fever, and she goes in and she throws up. And it didn't look like her normal. A lot of times she's just had bile throw up, and this was like kind of everything.
Oh, also hadn't Lucas and Jeff came over, and Ida had a blizzard.
Oh, she had a blizzard. Sorry, Dairy Queen, we don't think that's what caused it. But maybe it upset her stomach, so we're still just trying to figure out what's going on. And so to back up just a little bit also was, we had talked, because Kourtney was neutropenic, we had talked with our care team, and they said if there's a fever at all, doesn't matter what type of fever it is, you get in the car and you head up to Seattle Children's. And we live in Tacoma, which if there's no traffic from our house to Seattle Children's, it's right about 50 minutes, 50. If there's any traffic at all, we're over an hour, sometimes hour and a half, hour 45 minutes to get up there. So this was a Saturday night, but that was the plan, and we had got labs drawn again on Friday.
It was kind of hard for him to find my veins that day, too.
Yeah, there's one of the best IV therapist, I guess, at Seattle Children's Federal Way, Hector, if anybody knows Hector, and he actually missed Kourtney on Friday, and he was mad. He never misses, and he's one of the best IV starters I've ever seen. So a lot of that plays into kind of how the story keeps going. And so after those labs, I confirmed with our care team again, okay, so her neutrophils came up slightly, but she's still super neutropenic. I can't remember the number right now. I think she was at 100 or 117. And they said
120.
120. And yeah, they said, so come up. So now we're back to Saturday night again, and she threw up the one time. And that's happened before, so we're fine. She didn't have a fever, and she goes back in, and we lay down, and it was maybe 20 minutes later, and she goes, Dad, I'm feeling barfy again. And she gets up, runs to the bathroom, she's throwing up, and I feel her head that time, and I could tell now there's a fever. So she went from, we were all just hanging out, having a good time, to bowel wasn't feeling good, throwing up twice, and now she has a fever of almost 101. So I was like, we're out of here. We're going up to Seattle. We started grabbing stuff to get Kourtney in the car. I called the hospital to let them know we're on our way, and it's about 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday. And at first, the team at Seattle Children's, the person I'd talked to, because it's the on-call fellow, so it's not my care team, was like, well, follow the protocol. You know, if she's in the orange right now, we can wait another half hour to an hour, check temperature again, call us back. And I was like, no, my team said, go, we're going. And I could tell something had changed in Kourtney. Always look at your child and know your children. And if you see a big difference, don't hesitate. Go with your gut and just go. Because we were told by the physician to stay. So Kourtney, the whole way up, is not feeling good.
I was like shivering.
Yeah, she's shivering. She's kind of crying. I'm maybe breaking some speed limit laws. And we get up to Seattle Children's. They had a spot for us from the parking garage to the ER. She threw up 2 or 3 more times.
I think 2.
2 more times, filled up the vomit bag. We get up there. By the time we got into the emergency room, you guys, I was nervous because her heart rate was at 150. She had a fever of 103.5. Her blood pressure was under 100 systolic, I think under 90 systolic at one point. For the majority of the time, she was in the 80s systolic. Her oxygen saturation stayed good, but we didn't. This is another thing. If this ever happens to you, Kourtney has her port that we always access for labs and everything.
We forgot to put on the numbing cream, and I had to get access without the numbing cream on.
So they couldn't. By the time we arrived at the ER and the way that Kourtney was presenting, they said, we don't even have time, sorry sweetheart, to put the numbing cream on you.
Some ice.
They put a little bit of ice for maybe 30 seconds and got the port accessed, and she was so brave and did so good.
It didn't hurt as bad as I thought it would.
Yeah, which was good. But remember, if you do have to go to the ER, get that cream on for your child. That was a dad fail there. And then they had to get
We just forgot.
Yeah, we just forgot.
We had a lot going on.
And then they had to access her other arm, her AC on her left arm. So they were pumping so many fluids through her. They swabbed her for cultures for sepsis, seeing if it was bacterial. And while they were waiting for cultures to come back, we were in the ER for about 3.5 to 4 hours, and she got almost 5 liters of fluid. She was put on norepi, which is a pressor to get her blood pressure up, wasn't coming up. Put her on antibiotics and some Tylenol, seems like some other stuff, but they, for 3 or 4 hours, could not get her heart rate under 140. Blood pressure wasn't coming up, that's why they had to put on the pressors. And ultimately, we had to go they transferred us up to the ICU. So and then from the ICU, we were there that night. Maria came up the next morning to relieve me. We didn't sleep. We didn't get to even lay down and try to sleep till maybe 6:37 in the morning. And And the cultures came back negative. So they called it culture negative sepsis. And that was good and bad. It was like, okay, she didn't have culture positive sepsis, but something happened.
We didn't know what caused it.
Yeah.
So we can't really like know what to avoid if like that ever happens again.
Yeah, we don't know exactly, perfectly put, what to avoid. We don't know. We had mentioned with our doctor later if it was the blizzard, if maybe it was she just got, like a food poisoning. The doctor said they couldn't totally rule that out. However, to me, that seemed a little weird with her with her heart rate staying so high and her blood pressure staying so low for over 4 hours. That kind of seemed not correct to me. The other thing which could have led to it too was with Hector missing her IV the day before, which he never misses, and Hector's awesome. Maybe she was dehydrated, obviously, with the amount of fluids they put in her. And so we're always trying to hydrate Kourtney, and we're constantly kind of harping on her and make sure your child or whatever to keep that hydration going, because she was dehydrated no matter what, and whether that's what led to her episode.
Like get your biggest water bottle and fill it up and then give it to your child and make sure they drink a couple of those a day.
Yep.
I mean, unless the water bottle's like, wow, then that's kind of...
And we'll get into that in some other videos too, about some of the things we're changing in our own homes with our water filtration systems, juicing. Kourtney drinks her juices now every day and stuff like that to get the vitamins. So that's going to be another video. What's that?
I said delicious.
Delicious. But going back to the beginning too, some of the things when they talk about, I know with Seattle Children's, they want us to be within an hour of the ER. And a big takeaway of this video, I would think, would be complacency. Don't be complacent. Kourtney's labs were low, so that could have played into this as well. And we were staying on top of it. But I know my wife and I had talked a number of times. We've had a very good support system throughout this whole time. And friends had asked us to go to cabins up in the mountains, which is an hour and a half, 2 hours away. Homes on islands that you have to take a ferry or a boat to. So it'd be 3 to 4 hours or an airlift away. But it's only, it's very short distance. And we started to become comfortable and say, oh, we could do that. We could get Kourtney away to give her a little normalcy. And that was a big eye-opening wake-up for us, because had we decided to do one of those just easy little staycation getaways that are further away from the hospital, it's hard to say what would have happened. The nurses in the ER that night were like, thank God, no offense to the fellow who was on that night, that I didn't listen to them, because they said she was going downhill pretty quick and they needed to get her treatment started right away. So again, don't be complacent. Don't if they say stay within an hour, stay within an hour. It's for you and your child's best interest. What else do you think, Kourtney?
I don't know.
Anything? Okay. And I know that night Kourtney was very brave. Kourtney, again, also as another takeaway, make sure you have the cream on.
Yes.
Make sure you do that. And us parents can feed a lot off of the strength and bravery of our children, because she did awesome. And it did end up delaying her chemo just a couple days.
That's okay, though.
That was okay, and we're going to be back on track. But, we were able to nip in the bud quick enough, and Kourtney was awesome, and she's remained that way. And this time she's been a little low on some of her counts, but we're going to knock it out, and we're staying away from that. Yep. So, well, thanks again, you guys. Hopefully this helps some parents out there, or patients, or anybody, about listen to your body. Make sure you listen to the care plans that are in place with your provider and your team, and stick to those plans.
Follow your gut.
Yep, follow your gut. And
cream on your port.
Yeah. So, well, thanks again, everybody, for all the love and support you've shown us, our family, Kourtney. And if you're watching this video and you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And if you'd like, follow us on Facebook at #KourtneyStrong, and we will see you guys on the next one. Bye.